Very nice. Alright, everybody, let's get into the meat and potatoes of what I want to discuss, which is, I need to turn my block sounds down because I cannot even hear myself talk. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of what we're going to discuss, what is now yesterday. Because ostensibly what I did yesterday was bumble around for 10 minutes trying to come up with the right words, getting distracted as I was building a road, and not giving this topic the attention that it truly deserves. So I've come back the next day to re-record this bit with a bit extra emphasis on some of the facts in the timeline, so I can give this as more of a well-reasoned, well-fleshed out analysis of events. And of course these are events in the news, Minecraft related news, Minecraft YouTube related news, that are a little old now, well over a week old now, which is, decades in internet time. But we're going to do it anyway, which is that I want to talk about the Generikb fiasco as of recent, with particular emphasis on some hypocrisy on his part. Excuse me. And sort of the history of some of the drama that's gone on. So, as many of you know, because I've talked about it before, I was big into Hermitcraft before it was even a big thing. Back when Minecraft was still the dominant one. Back when it very first started, because Generikus started Hermitcraft in April 2012, seemingly after he had asked Good and was declined to join the Minecraft server. Joe Hills, I came along with Joe Hills in about shortly thereafter, May or June of 2012, just after the server was created. Very early, back when that seed still had the massive mushroom island right across the water from spawn. And from Joe Hills, as I mentioned before, I found Z-Stow and Paws and Paws through Race for Wool, doing Team Tunnel Rat stuff, and that's how I got into Minecraft. This is well before Hermitcraft was even big. Generikb, at some point later 2012, I want to say August. I did look this up. I can actually look at my August 2012. He meets Good at PlanCon, which is, I think, in Alabama. And he gets invited to the server. And so, ostensibly, I'm using that word a lot. Ostensibly. Seemingly, Generikb leaves the server sometime after that, becomes inactive, but officially leaves in April of 2013, a year after he starts the server. And the Hermitcraft server resets in June of 2013. That's when X, Shishwami, Exumavoid, Isuma, I don't remember exactly how to pronounce his name, but I do remember those alternative pronunciations, most of which are probably by Generikb, takes over the admin role on the server at the reset. And there was no bad blood mentioned at the time during that, but that happens. No bad blood, no drama seemingly. Nobody's come out to say exactly if there really was any drama at the time, and we shouldn't speculate on that. We can only assume that everything was on kosher terms between everybody else. We can jump back a little to something that's going to really crop up later in the discussion. There was a post that Generikb made on the Minecraft subreddit with his personal Reddit account not long after he joined the server and started up the B team with Generikb, which was titled Why I Roleplay. If I can remember, I'll link it down in the video description. And there's a particular quote I'd like to read out from that, which is, I don't do it for money, but I'm thankful I can make this my full-time career. I don't do it to pander to kids. Definition of pander is to cater to the lower taste and desires of others or exploit their weaknesses. Mr. Rogers didn't pander to me. He loved his job, and he loved kids. I'm no different. And Generikb talks about growing up with Mr. Rogers, as many of us did, and such a long-term American children's television show, and how he idolizes him as a role model in terms of his role play, which is all well and good until you get down to the nitty-gritty of what happens later in terms of drama, which we can take a look at. So the Minecraft EULA changed about pay-to-win servers and everything happens in June of 2014. Now, assuming that we can actually go from the very beginning of 2014, we know that most of the B-Team drama in Minecraft happened in 2014. We don't know how early that started, but we know it was before the EULA change in June 2014. The B-Team's taking money, $2,100 per video on one server, like a Sky Wars server or Bed Wars or whatever the hell. Did some other, like a prison server, Windcraft, which is apparently partly owned by Gryan, or was at least partly owned by Gryan. Anyway, somebody else who wasn't Gryan, who owned one of these servers, even talked about, with somebody who then posted it on the Minecraft subreddit, that he paid them $2,100 per video. And this is where the shit really started to hit the fan there, is with the confirmation of that. A year after this, April 3rd of 2015, Good incorporates Minecraft. There was the Minecraft is changing post on the Reddit. He took a lot of shit for that, actually. Generikb told us that it was that he was being pushed out because he didn't want to give his brand to Good to do with whatever he wanted Minecraft was, which isn't exactly the story that Good gave us. It later comes out that Good's doing this mainly to legally push Generikb and BOO as members of the B team doing that shady pay-to-win crap out of the server legally, stripping them from the idea that all of Minecraft could be taken down because of some shady shit that any one person, in this case BOO and Generikus had been doing. Etho and the Gyms and Paul Source Jr. also left at the time, and we know that Etho and the Gyms, or at least according to Good and partly confirmed by Etho, didn't want to put their names in writing, which we can understand for Etho. He put his name in a video once, years and years and years ago, and his family got doxxed, and he disabled the comments on that video. He's been very reticent to share personal details ever since then, which is why he doesn't do a face reveal, and we all have to respect that, of course. And I don't think Paul Source Jr. is necessarily ever actually mentioned, or I couldn't find a source on exactly why he left, potentially because of similar reasons. I know he did videos with his children on YouTube who were minors at the time, so that could be part of the reason. If you have your dad's name, you might be able to find the children's name too, which is unsafe for them in the world of the internet. You know, you can find almost anything on the internet, good or bad. So Minecraft incorporates, and Goo gets a lot of shit for it, and there's another post on the Minecraft subreddit called Minecraft is Changing, which is the name of the original post, but 4 years later. Minecraft is Changing 4 years later, and in the comments, Good still is getting shit for the idea of he's turning Minecraft into a business. Well, he didn't really, as we now know. He turned Minecraft into basically a charity fund, which is why they do all these charity live streams and everything, which is their main source of actual interaction with each other nowadays. So it's a very different, the reality tells a very different story from what we were all led to believe by Generikb at the time, and by the lack of transparency. What I can completely understand that, because you know, you don't want to go out and say, well, these two guys were doing something that I think is illegal, and therefore we should not cater to their wishes, and we should boot them from the server. That's totally fine. Because of that, there are a few well-known hermits now that were members of Minecraft at the time. Etho, Doc, Beef. Doc and Beef are still official members of the server, and I think even show up at some of the charity events. They're big on that. So you've got another faction of people on Hermitcraft who feel betrayed by Generikb, outside of the people who were originally just sort of left stranded at the server reset by Generikb. Now, the other thing is that Generikb doesn't actually own the Hermitcraft name. We can point to a tweet that was tweeted at him just after this actual recent fiasco, 19th June, 2021. But Jenny, you aren't on the list of members on the website. And he replies, I'm not a new member. I'm the creator, the original member. And he's very hypocritical about his namesake being the copyright, sort of the idea. I mean, the implication there is that, well, if he's the original creator and he's the gaming hermit, then he should absolutely have the right to come back to the server if he so wants. And you might all be wondering, why is this exactly important? Well, the important thing to look at here is the fact that I did a little research. On the U.S. Patent Trademark Office, it has no B team live and attributed to him, only one attributed to the WWE, in a Twisted Pixels game that's completely unaffiliated with Minecraft as a whole. And there's no copyright attributed to Generikb's personal name, which is out there, Judson. I won't say his last name, but it's out there. For the B team. And you might be wondering, well, Finn, why does any of this matter? The copyright, the trademark, the patent, whatever, for the B team? Well, I mean, there's a bit of hypocrisy here. 4 months ago, his Uncle Jenny account, which was his alternative Reddit account because he had been locked out of his original account, although supposedly he had just recently been able to get back into his original account. My phone went off. He was actively dissuading people from using the B team as part of the name for new mod packs, which were ostensibly just copies of the Attack of the B Team mod pack, or updated versions of the Attack of the B Team mod pack, which hasn't been updated in years. Telling people that one specific comment here is talking to some guy who's looking to use the name like Attack of the B Team Reloaded or Revamped or something like that. And he's like, well, I mean, I can look into the people on CurseForge and see if that name is okay. Excuse me. And Generikb comments back, or you could just take it down since the original creator of the mod pack is telling you do not have permission to publish this. The unfortunate thing is here, the hypocrisy is that Generikb actually has no legal standing to say so. Well, that's unfortunate. Let me just cut that off there. Okay, we're bueno. Generikb has absolutely no legal standing to say anything like that. A mod pack is only legal, all game mods in the eyes of the law are only legal as long as the game developers allow them to be so. So if any laws are being broken, it's not on GennyB's dime. He doesn't have a leg to stand on there. Now what that means is that there's an apparent hypocrisy as of very recent enough that this could have been in Generikb's mind at the same time that he did this Hermitcraft quote-unquote stream. That sort of says the idea is that Generikb cares about other people using his hard work and his name for work that he doesn't do, but the idea of him doing the Hermitcraft stream when he's not actually on the server, pretending to be on the server, pretending to be part of a community that was not really built by Generikb, because Hermitcraft was very small when he left for Minecraft, which was much bigger. Now Minecraft is largely irrelevant in the scene of YouTube Minecraft, and Hermitcraft is kind of the top dog now. Trying to capitalize on that, which is somebody else's hard work and not his own. It may be his namesake, but he has absolutely no legal right to claim he should be allowed back onto the server because it's his baby. Because it's not really. He's, an absentee father. Maybe even worse. Maybe an abusive father in terms of child abandonment, if we're going that far with the metaphor. So what it means is that let me just pull up the very last bit of what I've written out here. See, I've had to write this down so I wouldn't be rambling on too long, and this has already gone on for 15 minutes, so, not particularly successful there. What this means is that the Hermitcraft strain not only is incredibly egregious and hypocritical, it is immature, juvenile, whatever you want to call it. It's a bad look for a 46-year-old man. He has a history of this. He did that. He left the server completely unannounced, capitalizing on being part of Minecraft. He was dealing with the shady shit in terms of the B team getting money unsolicited or undisclosed payments per server, which falls back into the hypocrisy of the idea of him idolizing Mr. Rogers and not wanting to pander to kids, because clearly the B team pandered to kids there. That's what the whole original I Roleplay thing was written about, and is also exactly what the very crux of the issue was about the pay-to-win servers, is that they were B team videos and they were pandering to kids, and they were glorifying some pay-to-win server that they got paid to advertise. It's very egregious, very egregious. There's not much of a defense for that. And there's not much of a defense for a troll, quote unquote troll, if you can even call it that, of this caliber from somebody with this kind of a history. It's incredibly bad look. So, Generikb should at the very least understand why he's getting the shit that he's getting. Because what he's doing is essentially something that, he didn't want to set up to do, or he very much knew that he was setting out to do. Knew that he would get shit for, and then did it anyway, and then was wondering why he was getting shit for it. It's once again, it's all in all, it's a very juvenile experience, and for this reason alone, he should not. He should not even be paid a moment's notice for what he's done, and he should very much understand exactly why nobody wants to hang out with him on Hermitcraft, why he's getting the shit that he's getting. Which is all to say that what I've just told you is anything that you guys could have figured out on your own. What I mean to say is that from my perspective, as somebody who is a viewer of Hermitcraft and Minecraft at the time that all this drama was going down, up until, about the, 2015, so the recent drama I've not been aware of until I was made aware of it, is that for the most of the time, Generikus has been, little more than a con man, in the fact that he's had the public on his side. I was sitting on his side of the Minecraft incorporation thing for a bit, because I just believed what he told us in his videos and his posts on Reddit and everything. The B team taking money for the undisclosed payments was a shady thing, but we could let it slide at the time. A lot of his viewers. It's something that, as you mature and you get older, you start to understand is a very sad thing if you're going to cling on to it that long. He needs to take responsibility for what he's done, and he hasn't done that, and he seems unwilling to do that in everything he's said so far. And he just keeps pulling crazy shit like this, which is a very sad thing. I'll see you guys next time.